To discuss, we're joined by freelance journalist at GroundUp Raymond Joseph, who's been following this very closely. Thank you for being with us, Raymond. So those arrests and this announcement from Minister Patel, is this great action?
Yes, I think what we're starting to see, just to say the president will be getting a report on the first 12 investigations at the end of this month. And there's a total of 50 investigations that all they hope to wrap up, the SIU say, by the end of the year, November, the end of the year. So yes, I think this is not the end, Francis, but it's certainly the beginning of the end. And I think what happened today, and it happened last week where assets were frozen, this is the beginning, I think, of a series of these swoops where the SIU moves to recover money, which was obtained through corruption.
Yeah. Getting rid of all the board members, though, I presume some of them would say, look, you can't paint us all, tar us with the same brush. So I don't know. How much evidence is there? How many claims are there against how many board members?
So look, Francis, getting rid of the board members at this stage is symbolic because their term of office ends at the end of the year. But the board has been, it hasn't been core for some time. The former board member's term of office ended at the end of November 2020. He is yet to be replaced. Another board member resigned after he was confronted with evidence of his alleged corruption by the SIU. And a third board member died a few weeks ago. So literally you are left with two board members and the minister's own nominee. So evidence of corruption, at least two, there is evidence of definite corruption by at least two of those board members. But, you know, they were there when all this was happening. And you've got to expect collective responsibility. You can't say, well, I wasn't corrupt, therefore, you know, don't do anything to me. It can't be like that. A board is responsible for what goes on within the organization over which they have oversight.
Yeah, of course, it's about oversight as well. We've spoken before, and the history here is that money is given to beneficiaries who are meant to use lotto funds for good projects. So they get the funds, those projects don't materialize, and now we're hearing the claims and seeing the arrests because the money changes hands and the money is gobbled up. We've spoken about extraordinary projects before. Just give us a glimpse into some of the projects that have never happened, into some of the projects that have been a black hole into which money has been poured into.
By my reckoning, so there are 6 old age homes which receive funding around 25 to 30 million rand each that have never ever been completed. I've just come back from Limpopo where I went to go and look at an old age home there, which has received 27 million rand. It's been abandoned. It's rotting. The only way that place can be fixed is to knock it down and start again. 4 drug rehabs never been completed. A sports stadium, which was supposed to be built from scratch. And in fact, what happened is an existing stadium that the NLC had nothing to do with, got a lick of paint, a few doors. This is 11.5 million rand later. And nothing was really done here. So in what is happening, Kimberley, interestingly, so the people involved, by the way, are the deputy head of that Northern Cape office, her partner, who's the chief legal officer there, and 5 others. It's a total of 7 people who've been implicated by whistleblowers in Northern Cape. One of the projects, in fact, is an old age home in Kuruman that has received 20 million rand. It's abandoned. This is 5 years later. This thing is, let alone working. They've not even finished building it.
Sure. I mean, how many projects are successful? Because this is meant to help people. And remember, as a society, we're making a trade-off. I would say we're allowing lotto tickets to be sold, and poor people spend a lot of money on lotto tickets when statistically your chances of winning are basically zero. But we allow that because the funds are meant to go somewhere good. How many projects are working?
So look, I'll tell you that a lot of what has been going on has been happening with big infrastructure projects that have received funding through a process called proactive funding. 2015, the law was changed, allowing either the minister, but in practice, it's the Lottery Commission in consultation with their board to identify good causes or projects to fund without getting an application. Where it goes wrong is they then get to choose who's going to oversee it. And what you've got are hijack projects, brand new shelf companies who are actually have no skills whatsoever in big infrastructure projects to handle it. The NLC wipes their hands off it and says, listen, we give money to organizations. We do not choose who gets to deliver services on the project. But in practice, what has been happening is certainly the chief operating officer of the National Lotteries Commission, Philemon Letwaba, companies under the direct control of members of his family, including his wife, have received millions and millions of rands, in most cases for large infrastructure projects. What has happened in Northern Cape, where they talk about runners going around and finding NPOs and then helping them? This is not unique to the Northern Cape. This is happening all over the country. You know, you've got these criminal networks, often collaborating directly with people working within the NLC to identify, find NPOs, help them,
and then
put
money changes hands. We have to end it there just because of time, but thank you for giving us that very grim picture of what is going on. And of course, the SIU has been on the case since 2020, and they will continue to follow up these incredible claims against the National Lottery. That was a freelance journalist from GroundUp, Raymond Joseph.